Good afternoon, sir. Midshipman 4th Class Fahey, and today I'll be presenting on the Hainan Island EP-3E incident. The incident occurred on April 1st, 2001. While on a routine surveillance operation, a United States EP-3E aircraft collided with a Chinese J-8 fighter off the coast of Hainan Island, a Chinese territory. Due to the damage of the airplane, you'll notice in the photo, the nose is torn completely off and engine 1 is damaged. The crew was forced to land on Hainan Island. The 24 American crew members were detained for 11 days before being released back to the States. Looking at the EP-3E Ares 2, it's a variant of the P-3 Orion designed by Lockheed Martin. Being on the P-3 Orion format, it's a pretty big airplane at 99-foot, 8-inch wingspan, featuring 4 turboprop engines. Its primary mission is surveillance, meaning its capabilities include electronic warfare and reconnaissance. The crash. When the crew took off from Kadena Air Force Base on their 9-hour flight in Okinawa, Japan, they thought it would be a normal surveillance operation. However, as they passed by Hainan Island, the crew was intercepted by 2 Chinese J-8 fighters, which isn't uncommon. The fighters oftentimes come out and make multiple reckless passes in front of the plane, this time coming within 50 feet of the Ares 2 and then pulling away. Then, on one reckless pass, the J-8 came within 10 feet of the wing and pulled up, colliding with the Ares 2. In a quote from Lieutenant Osborne, the commander and pilot of the mission, the J-8 pitched upward steeply, causing the fighter's fuselage to impact with the spinning blades of the EP-3E's number 1 engine. The J-8 then cartwheeled around, tearing off the radome and destroying the nose of the airplane. The J-8 was destroyed completely, and the pilot was killed. However, the EP-3E was still in the air. The crew was forced to land on the island due to the damage of the airplane. If you were to read articles from that time, such as from the New York Times, they attempt to remain neutral because China stated that it was the US's fault and the Ares 2 collided with the finbacks. However, the US states that the J-8 finbacks collided with the Ares 2. However, according to Captain Lee Boyer, who was flown with no less than 6 people who were on this flight, it was the J-8 that collided with the Ares 2, not the other way around. The crew was held for 11 days in China before being released back to the States. US diplomats worked tirelessly to release them. While captured, the crew was interrogated, mostly Lieutenant Osborne, as he was the commander of the flight. However, other than the interrogation, the crew was treated remarkably well. They became friends with some of the Chinese soldiers and were given any food that they wanted and even played video games with the Chinese. Pictured here is Lieutenant Shane Osborne. As the EP-3E is a surveillance airplane, there's lots of important technology and information on it. So as soon as the crew knew that they had to land in Chinese territory, they immediately got to work destroying information. When they landed on Hainan Island on the runway, they even kept the engines running for another hour and stayed inside destroying more systems. They did whatever they could to destroy the systems, which even included taking hot coffee and pouring it over the computers. The Chinese kept the EP-3E for a while after the crew was released, so they were trying to get information from it, and it's possible that they were able to reverse engineer some of our systems and technologies and copy them themselves. Lasting effects. To this day, there's much controversy over whether or not the crew should have ditched the plane in the water. They could have attempted a water landing, however the survivability was much lower. It's already hard to make a water landing, plus the nose was gone and the radome was gone too. It was a very damaged airplane. So it was much safer to land on Hainan Island, despite losing information to the Chinese. According to the Fellowship of American Scientists, who did a report for Congress, the incident raises short and long-term implications for policy regarding China, arms sales to Taiwan, trade with the People's Republic of China, intelligence, maritime surveillance, and relations with some allies in Asia, as well as Russia. The crew was treated well and returned. However, we didn't get the EP-3E back for a while longer, so we probably lost information. And at first, the US reported that not too much information was lost, and any information that was of little to medium importance. However, much later, the Snowden files were released, and they suggest that the Chinese were able to acquire a decent amount of information, and it was important information as well. In their debates, the Chinese stipulated that they got to keep the EP-3E, and they also never wanted it to fly again. So when they returned it to the US, they separated the wings from the fuselage, basically destroying the airplane. However, the US showed up with a large enough carrier to completely take the fuselage back to the US, and then Lockheed Martin completely repaired the airplane, and it flew again in 2013. Would it have been easier to get a new P3? Possibly. However, the US probably made it fly again just out of spite to China. This event forever altered our relations with China and made us much more cautious about our information. Thank you.